Bellator 129, the show you're going to be at this Friday night. And, Paul Bradley and Josh Neer, that's going to be a great main event.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very fun main event for a fight in Iowa because both of them are from Iowa. So you're going to have a very partisan, partial crowd that's not partisan for one fighter or the other fighter, but they're going to be very loud for both fighters. Maybe a slight edge to Josh Neer since he's the victory fighting welterweight champion, but it's just going to be fun because they're going to be so cranked up for two Iowa fighters fighting in Iowa in the main event of a televised show.
You said they're both from Iowa, so maybe I thought there was like an even more defined local connection there.
No, in fact, I would say if anything, the biggest reaction of the night is probably going to be for Houston Alexander because Council Bluffs is just across the river from Omaha, and there will be plenty of Houston Alexander, Nebraska fans who are waiting for him to say, Nebraska is in the building.
Oh, man. And what do you think of his opponent, Virgil Zwicker?
Zwicker's been around forever. He goes all the way back to 2003,
wow.
But he's only had 16 fights in all that time.
How is that possible?
I asked myself the same question until I looked at his fight record, and it seems like he only takes one fight or maybe one fight, two fights a year at the most. So he's definitely not got the wear and tear of some other opponents that Houston Alexander could face in that main event. I mean, James the Colossus Thompson, if that fight had gone down as scheduled, that's a guy who's been around and back again. But Virgil Zwicker's been around a long time, but he doesn't seem to have, it's one of those situations where it's like, how do I put it? Houston's older. That's part of the problem is, he's in his 40s. He's 42. So time is not on his side in this one. And because Houston Alexander fights a very rock'em sock'em MMA style, he's taken a lot of punishment, a lot more than other people would, because he'll win by knockout or he'll lose by knockout. That's just kind of the way he is. So I feel like if it had been the Colossus Thompson and they had just gone out there and traded with each other, that might have actually worked out better for him. But I think the change of opponent, even on late notice, might be at a disadvantage for Houston.
What about Andre Santos against James Terry?
Terry, you probably remember from Strikeforce. He was there forever, and he was in the promotion when it got bought out by Zuffa, and ended up leaving before the Strikeforce brand was merged into the UFC because he took a split decision loss to Bobby Green, and that was the end of his contract there. So he's a good fighter overall. He's won 66% of his fights, but he's facing a guy from Brazil that, as we always say with these Brazilian fighters who have long records and lots of finishes, Santos is 36-9, but who has he fought? We don't know if he's fighting the caliber of guys that are in Strikeforce or UFC, and that's what we have to find out. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think because he's got so many submissions on his record, I think he'll submit James Terry.
So the thing is, you're right. With the whole Brazil thing, you don't know the quality of the opponent, but you also got to think of this is his first time, fighting, in the States, that he's going to want to perform that much better. But as far as the skill level of Santos, I think you're right. I think he's going to submit Terry, and Terry's going to go to the drawing board. But, it's one of those things where it has potential to be the fight of the night, but also has potential to just be a real stinker in some aspects, too.
It's true, but the biggest question mark is probably the opening fight because it's Joe Vetipo against Davin Clark, and even though Clark is from the American Kickboxing Academy and probably has, a good skill set because of that, it's his first fight ever on, major broadcast television. So at least we know Vetipo has been around and been in UFC, although he lost both of his UFC fights. But at least we've seen Vetipo on the big stage before.
Yeah, it's a name I remember seeing on the results, but it's good that Bellator's given him a shot here and in the main card, so he's going to have definite exposure, and who knows, he could step up and really have a highlight reel knockout or submission here.
He could, but I'm predicting Vetipo. No, when I'm looking at the prelim card, I've got like Eric Hauser and Tim Baser at catchweight, and Holly Lawson and Josette Cotton at catchweight, and at middleweight, a fight you might be interested in. Anthony Smith, formerly of Strikeforce and UFC, is on the prelims against Brian Green.
Surprised it's on the prelims. I thought it'd be higher on the card.
Well, if it's a good fight, he'll probably get bonused onto the TV show, so I wouldn't worry about it.
I think if he does good here and the fight gets bonuses, next fight would be on the main card.
Could be.
I was going to say almost, I caught myself. I almost said, we'll see you in the next tournament. Oh, wait.
Well, here, I can tell you a reason why this fight wouldn't have ended up on TV.
What is that?
Because he lost to Josh Neer by a rear naked choke at Victory Fighting 41, so they probably don't want to put the guy that Neer submitted on the same card with Neer on the main TV card.
That's true. I could see the reasoning. I just find it a little low on the card for my liking, but I mean, there's like a lot of fights on this card, so you gotta put it somewhere, so.